and final edition of our penetration testing workshops. So far, it's been a really amazing experience for me, and I thank you all for joining me in these workshops. And I hope you had enjoyed as much as I did. So, with that being said, I'm going to start with today's workshops. Can we get all the recordings? Yes, I will make an announcement on that during this week, and you will be able to access the recordings. So keep an eye on the Discord servers for Netsoc and BitSoc, and yeah, I'll be sharing the links to the recordings. So let's get started. So today we're gonna focus on Eternalblue. I really did want to focus on this because I find this exploit specifically very interesting because it was an exploit developed by the NSA, National Security Agency of United States, and it was leaked by a hacker group named Shadow Brokers back in 2017. So when this exploit was leaked and it became public, it was crazy. It was used to gain initial access to computers and infect the WannaCry ransomware. So I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was a big buzz about it when it happened. So it is estimated that 200,000 computers in 150 countries were infected with the WannaCry ransomware, and there is an example screenshot of the WannaCry ransomware. It basically encrypts all the files on the system, and it asks for money in Bitcoin to get the files decrypted. So it was a very huge deal, and a lot of hospitals, police stations, a lot of very critical systems were affected, and they couldn't be used until this a guy from UK actually reversed engineered the WannaCry ransomware and saved everybody. Basically, there are a lot of stories about it on YouTube if you're interested, and generally on the web, so you can actually research about it. But I find it very interesting because it was developed by the NSA, and the NSA developed this to use this for their own operations, for national defense, as the United States described it. But it was so powerful that when it got leaked, it caused havoc all around the world. So we're going to get a little bit deeper about it. So Eternalblue affected Windows systems, and it exploited a vulnerability found on Microsoft's SMB protocol version 1. So the SMB protocol stands for server message block, and it's a network file sharing protocol that allows access to files on a remote server. So back in the day, I think the version 1 was released back in like 1983, and it basically was a protocol for Windows hosts to share files with each other. And as the years went by, I think we are on version 3, and one of the big reasons that we are in version 3 is because the version 1 got exploited very badly. So some of the vulnerable systems are Windows XP Service Pack 2 64-bit or 32-bit operating systems, Windows 7, Windows 8.1. So there are a lot of different versions of Windows that were affected. And today, for demonstration, we will be using the Windows XP. So a bit about the technical details. The exploit works by taking advantage of a buffer overflow. So a buffer overflow is a programming bug which lets data to be written to a reserved memory area that goes out of bounds, and it allows the attackers to write data to adjacent memory locations. So what that means basically is that attackers get to control certain memory locations that they should not be able to. And in the case of Eternalblue, they are able to control a memory location with execute permission. So that leads to remote code execution, which is one of the most critical vulnerabilities that you can have on a system. So after we are going to do a demonstration with Eternalblue, I wanted to do something with the post-exploitation stage as well. So today we are going to use a tool called Firefox Decrypt, and it will allow us to decrypt the Google login password for an account, and I will show you how to do that. I mean, there are a lot of different things you can do post-exploitation, such as, like we had seen in real life, infect computers with ransomware, malware. Like, after you have access to the system, there are basically, you own the system. So today we will be looking at extracting Firefox passwords. And with that being said, that was all for the presentation today. Today we will be focusing, we will be having much more time on the demonstration. And if you guys have looked at the email that was sent today, it was different from the previous emails because it didn't have any PDF attachments. And the reason for that is because we're not doing a CTF challenge today. So for change, today, first of all, I'm using VMware, and we have two hosts. So one of it is a Windows XP computer right here, which there is a reason that I chose specifically XP because, well, I've been hacked once, at least to my knowledge. I've been hacked once, and I used to have this small notebook like 10 years ago, and it had Windows XP, and I got hacked. It was 10 years ago. I've thought about it a lot, but like I cannot really discover the specific way on how I got hacked. But the end result was a ransomware, and I was 10 or 11 years old at the time, and I was in my home, Turkey, and it had like the police department of Turkey, and it had like the screen had a picture of me taken from my computer, and it asked money from me, and it said that if I didn't pay that money, then I would go to jail. So I was very scared because I thought it was real. I was 10 years old. I didn't know anything about hacking or computer, ransomware and all that stuff. So I actually hid the computer for like a day so my dad couldn't access it. And I was trying to figure out a way, but then, I just couldn't. So I went to my dad and I was crying. And he actually found a way to recover the PC without actually formatting it. But that was a really scary, scary time. And yeah, I don't have very fond memories of Windows XP because of that. So I figured, let's hack Windows XP. So I have an edition of Windows XP. I believe it's Service Pack 2. But if you have a Windows image that is vulnerable to Eternalblue, you can load it in a virtual machine and you can do your test just like I'm doing. Your dad must be a superhero for you at that time. Yes, so yeah, I mean, I was very scared and I thought it was real. And the first thing my dad, like, he looked at the computer, he saw the ransomware, and he's like, that's a computer virus. And I'm like, really? So, yeah. Anyway, so we have this Windows XP host, and we have Kali Linux. So I've changed a lot of things from from the previous workshops. We're using VMware and we are using Kali Linux. So in here, let me just make it full screen. There we go. That's much better. So I already have Metasploit on. So what we can do here is we're going to first search for Eternalblue. So we can just type search Eternal, and we get different modules. So in here, I first want to show you guys, oh, not that one. Yeah, this one. So this basically is a scanner, and what this will do is that it will scan the target system, and it will tell us that if it's vulnerable to Eternalblue or not. So I'm gonna type use 3, and we have the module loaded. Now we can type show options, and as you can see, we have the different options. So the only thing that we have to do is set the R hosts to the IP address of our target machine, which I already know. It is 192.168.183.133. So after that, we hit run. And as you can see, the first thing that it tells us that host is likely vulnerable to Eternalblue, which this code represents the Eternalblue exploit. So now we go back to the modules, and as you can see, there are actually 2 exploits that we can use. This one is much more reliable. It is actually called Eternal Romance, I believe. It is a different variation of the Eternalblue. It basically, again, takes advantage of a buffer overflow, but there are some differences on how they do the things, but they are quite similar. And also the second exploit here works on much wider target. Like for example, the first one doesn't work for 32-bit operating systems, but the second one, which we will be using today, does. And our our target system is a 32-bit machine as well. So we're gonna type use 1, and it should load the module for us. And the default payload is Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. So it's going to give us a Meterpreter shell, and it's going to be a reverse TCP connection. Now we can go show options. And as you can see, again, the only thing that we need to do is set the R host. So we're going to set the R host to 192.168.183.133. Okay, so as you can see, the payload options are already set for us. The L host, the machine that we're listening, this is the IP address, and the L port, local port, has been set to 44444. We don't have to change it. So we're just gonna hit run. And as you can see, we got a Meterpreter shell, just like that. So now we have initial access to the system. So that was pretty much the Eternalblue part. The systems that are vulnerable, they can be accessed just like that. So I mean, you wouldn't expect anything less, right? It's an NSA developed exploit. Those guys know what they're doing. So I mean, you can think that like the havoc that it caused, and it was so easy when it got publicly available for a lot of attackers. So after this, we're going to do a post-exploitation. We're going to go to the post-exploitation stage, and I'm going to show you how we can extract Firefox passwords. So before that, I'm going to go back to the Windows XP machine and open Firefox, if it can let me. And as you can see, wow, this looks really old. But anyways, so we go sign in. And as you can see, there is a Google account. So it's called Alpha Security, and that's the email. And if you ask, this was a Google account created specifically for a project, my project team, and we were called Alpha Security. So that was our name. And here you can see a password, the password of this account. And this password is stored inside the browser. And when we want to log in, it automatically fills the password for us. So now I'm going to show you that how we can actually crack this password after we have the access to the system. So I'm going to go back to my Kali machine. Gonna make it full screen, and the first thing that we are going to do is that we already have this session, but we're going to put this session onto the background so we can use another module. So I can do that by typing background, and as you can see, this session is called session 1, and it's in the background and it is still active. So now I'm going to use another Metasploit module. So I'm going to search Firefox creds. So as you can see, the second one is actually SSH creds. So we have this one. So we are going to use this module. So use 0. And if we hit show options, as you can see, the only thing that we have to do is we have to specify the session. So our session is 1. So I'm going to set session 1. And now I'm going to run that. And as you can see, it extracted. Was my microphone on? Google Meet has been weird for me lately. No, there weren't any external voices. So yeah, you're good. Anyway, so the important things are these 4 files. So as you can see, we have these files, and these are the places that we've downloaded into our computer. So to make things more convenient, I would advise you to move all of these files into one folder, which I've already done. It's on my desktop and it's inside Firefox. So as you can see, all of these files are in here. And now we are going to use the tool called Firefox Decrypt. So Firefox Decrypt, this is not a tool that comes pre-installed with any operating system. It's a publicly available tool in GitHub. So if you want to use this tool, you can just Google Firefox Decrypt and get the code from GitHub. So now we have all these files, right? And we are going to use Firefox Decrypt. So I'm going to open a terminal here, and I'm going to go Python 3, and it already has the command for me. So Python 3 Firefox Decrypt.py, the tool, and the directory that these files are in. So once I hit that command, boom, I'll just make it full screen. As you can see, it says it's a Google account. Here's the email, and there's the password. And if you think like a lot of the advice from a lot of cybersecurity professionals, they say a lot of things. They say one like have one uppercase, have one lowercase, have numbers, have special characters. Can we do this for Chrome too? I don't know if there's a tool for Chrome. Uh, I'm not sure. But as you can see, besides having a uppercase letter, uh, this looks like like a somewhat secure password. Like, I mean, it's test 123321. It's not the most complicated password, but it fits some of the criterias that people advise us. But as you can see, with tools like this, it is very, very easy to extract sensitive information. And this was just an example for Google. I believe with this tool you can get Facebook passwords, let me like Instagram passwords, any password that is stored on the browser, you can get that. There is actually a way to prevent this, and I want to show you that as well. So for that, we have to switch back to our XP computer here, and there is something called a master password on Firefox. So if we go options, let's see, should be security. Use a master password. So if you use a master password, I mean that basically is like the password of passwords. So in order to access these passwords, we would have to know the master password as well. So for anyone who's using Chrome, not Chrome, Firefox, if you guys don't know about that, use a master password, because I'm not actually going to demonstrate it, but if you use a master password, let me go back to the Kali. Here, once I hit enter, it would ask me the master password. And if I didn't know the master password, it wouldn't be able to crack any other password. But if I also knew the master password, then, then game over, basically. But um, so this was a very quick, this was probably the quickest workshop of all four, but that is pretty much it. I really wanted to show you how easy it is to get information on people, system, users, really critical information. I mean, like, if you store your bank account's password on your browser, then your bank account's password can be extracted as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the demonstration as well. So I want to ask you guys, do you have any questions, or do you have do you want to do you want to chat about anything, basically? But okay, none here. So how does Firefox decrypt work? So okay, so I want to show you logins.json first. So this was one of the files that we got from the Metasploit module. So as you can see, there are a lot of different information here. So the most important uh, information here is that there is the encrypted username part, and there is the encrypted password part. So as you can see, these are encrypted, and the uh, the Firefox decrypt tool, basically, um, with the let me show you, with the key here, it basically decrypts that encrypted password, and yeah, like gives you the result back in plain text. I'm not sure if it's MD5. I haven't looked which specific encryption algorithm that Firefox uses, but well, this is basically how the tool works. What's the best beginner security certificate? I'm not the best guy to answer that questions. Where can we find the recordings? I will post an announcement on that on Discord servers. But for Drumil, does that explain well on the tool about the tool? And if you're interested, if you're more interested, you can basically uh, go to the GitHub page, get the tool, and also, once you have this tool, you can also go and look for the source code yourself, and it's in Python. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, awesome. Sounds like a weak encryption methodology used by Firefox. Yeah, yeah. I mean, as you saw, it didn't like so from like this tool does not brute force anything at all. We're not using a word list or anything. So it basically of decrypts the encrypted password. And yes, there is the link for the tool, and hopefully they have updated in newer versions. I think it's still the same. I'm not too sure. But like I showed, the way to prevent it is to use a master password and not sharing your master password with anyone.